Welcome back to the orchard, my boy.
Thank you. It is good to be back.
Come on in, we were just waiting for you.
The Hearthside Chronicles, Book 4, The Orchard That Had No Edge. Chapter 5. The 10 Feet. Daniel woke the next morning in a narrow bed under a sloped ceiling, in a room he did not immediately remember being shown to, with grey, early light coming soft through a small window, and the sound, somewhere below, of a kettle being filled. He lay still for a moment, taking stock. His notebook was on the chair beside the bed, his boots set neatly underneath it, his coat hung on a peg by the door with the 2 apples he assumed still in the pocket. Nothing about the room felt strange or dreamlike. It felt, if anything, entirely ordinary, a plain little guest room in a plain old farmhouse. The kind of room he had slept in 100 times over the course of his working life, while surveying one boundary or another in one corner of the county or another. It was only when he sat up and looked properly at the window that he remembered all at once exactly how unordinary the previous day had been. He dressed and went downstairs, following the smell of toast and the low murmur of voices, and found Constance and Silas already at the table, the spaniel Bramble underfoot as usual. The whole scene so settled and familiar that Daniel had the odd, brief sense of having lived in this kitchen rather longer than one afternoon and one night. "Sleep well?" Constance asked, setting a plate in front of him. "Very. No strange dreams, if that's what you're asking." "I wasn't asking anything in particular, just being polite." She sat back down. "Silas is walking to the Hallidays this morning. Frank wants to know when he can expect his answer about the 10 feet. I haven't written the report yet." "No," Silas agreed, buttering toast with the same unhurried care he brought to everything. "But you know what it's going to say, and so I'd wager does the orchard, and between the 2 of you, that's generally enough to be going on with out here." Daniel found he had no real argument to make against this, and ate his breakfast instead. And it was over the last of his tea that he asked the question that had been sitting with him since he woke. "Will I remember all of this properly? Once I'm back at the office, writing up the figures, explaining to my firm why a 4-acre orchard took me the better part of 2 days to measure? Or will it go soft round the edges the way dreams do, until I'm not sure any more what actually happened and what I only imagined happening?" Constance and Silas exchanged a look across the table, brief and unhurried, the kind of look 2 people share after a great many years of not needing to finish each other's sentences out loud. "That rather depends on you," Constance said at last. "Some people who come through here forget almost everything within the week. They go home, and the office swallows them back up, and by Christmas they'd tell you, quite honestly, that nothing unusual happened at all, just a long walk and a cup of tea with an old woman and her dog. It isn't that they're lying. The remembering just doesn't take root for some people. There's no shame in it. Not everyone's built to carry a strange afternoon around with them for the rest of their life. And the others? The others, keep it, Silas said. Not all of it, clearly. Not every turn and every tree, but enough. Enough that on some ordinary evening, years from now, doing something that has nothing at all to do with orchards, they'll catch a certain slant of gold light through a window, or the particular sound wind makes moving through leaves that are just about to fall, and something in them will go quiet and settle, the way you settled yesterday afternoon on that bench, and they won't entirely know why, and they won't much mind not knowing. Daniel considered this for a long moment, turning his empty cup slowly on its saucer in a gesture he realized, faintly amused, he had picked up from Silas without meaning to. "I think I'd like to be the second kind," he said. "Then you probably will be," Constance said with the same placid certainty she brought to everything else. "Wanting to keep something is most of the battle in my experience. The orchard doesn't take much convincing, once it knows you mean it." After breakfast, Daniel walked out to the gate with Silas, the morning mild and bright, the previous day's rain entirely gone, the orchard beyond the wall, lying calm and ordinary in the early light, giving nothing at all away. "I should get back," Daniel said. "There'll be questions at the office about where I've been." "There generally are." Silas held out his hand, and Daniel shook it, finding the grip firm and warm and entirely unmagical, the handshake of an ordinary man who kept an extraordinary orchard with no particular fuss about the fact. "You'll write your report. 4 acres near enough. Recommend the strip to Halliday." He'll be pleased, insufferable about it for a month, and then pleased. Silas glanced back toward the trees, rows running straight and obliging in the clear morning light, nothing about them today suggesting they had ever curved a single degree out of true. "Come back sometime if you find yourself out this way again, not for work, just to sit under old Tom's tree a while, if you're passing." "Will I be able to find it again? You said something yesterday about people not always finding their way back when they wanted to." "You'll find it," Silas said, echoing, though Daniel did not know this, almost exactly what Constance had once told another traveller at another door on another strange morning in a house not so very far from this one. "When you need to, not necessarily when you want to. It's a fine distinction, but it's the one that matters out here." Daniel set off along the lane toward the village, his notebook in his bag, 2 apples still in his coat pocket, the sound of Bramble's single farewell bark carrying faintly behind him on the mild morning air. He did not look back at the orchard, though he was aware of it there behind him for a long while, the way you remain aware of a fire in a room even after you've turned your back to write at a desk on the far side of it, a warmth at the edge of things that did not need looking at directly to be felt. He wrote his report 2 days later at his own desk, in his own small flat above a chemist's shop in town, the ordinary noise of traffic and neighbours settling around him in a way that felt, after the quiet of Constance's kitchen, both entirely familiar and faintly strange, as though he had come back from somewhere considerably further away than a single county over. The report said, in the careful, measured language his firm expected, that the Ray orchard extended to approximately 4 acres, that a minor discrepancy in the eastern boundary traverse was attributable to instrument variance, and that it was the surveyor's professional recommendation that the disputed 10-foot strip be granted to the Halliday farm, in the interest of settling a long-standing and largely amicable disagreement between neighbours. It was accepted without comment, filed and forgotten by everyone who read it, exactly as Silas had predicted it would be. Daniel did not forget it. In the years that followed, on evenings when the light came low and gold through his own window in a particular slanting way, or when the wind moved through the plane trees along his street with a certain soft, unhurried rustle, he would feel something in his chest go quiet and settle, briefly without any clear reason, and would think for no more than a moment of a low stone bench beneath a split-trunked tree and an apple that had fallen uninvited into his open and unhurried hands. He went back eventually the following autumn on no particular business at all, and found the gate exactly where he remembered it, and Constance waiting, and bramble grown a little greyer about the muzzle, but otherwise entirely unchanged, and the orchard beyond them settled into its long, patient rows, waiting, as it always seemed to be waiting, for whoever needed it next.